Welcome to Cozy Cajun Recipes ASMR. As always, we're going to have a delicious meal for you this evening. And don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. As always, there's no need for a pen and paper. Recipes will be posted at the end of this video and in the description. So sit back and relax and enjoy the shrimp and crab meat au gratin and homemade French bread this evening. For the shrimp and crab meat au gratin, you're going to need 1 pound of lump crab meat, not imitation crab meat. I know everybody likes to use that, but no, honey, this is going to need actual crab meat. Because we lived in the deep south in Louisiana, and there was always a plethora of seafood all over the place, so we ate it a lot. You're also going to need 1 pound of shrimp. We are famous for our shrimp, and I think I ate shrimp every day for years and years, and I still love eating shrimp at least once or twice a week. It's delicious. Then you're going to need 3 tablespoons of sherry, good sherry, not just cooking sherry, but actual sherry that you would drink. You're also going to need 3 tablespoons of butter and 3 ounces of cheese. Now, with the cheese, you're going to need any type of white cheese for this. So that's going to be any of you can use a white cheddar, you can use a Gouda, a Munster, anything like that. It's going to be a really good white cheese that melts really well, because that's what you're going to want in here. It's going to thicken up that sauce like gratin, and you're going to need that. You don't want to use something that's going to have too harsh of a flavor. You just want something that's going to be a little bit softer and complements the dish well, because you want to be able to still taste the shrimp and the crab meat in there. So, for the next part, you're going to need for the white sauce, you're going to need 6 tablespoons of butter, 6 tablespoons of flour, 3 cups of milk, or you can use half and half. Then you're going to need salt and pepper to taste, half a cup of crushed cracker crumbs. And when they say crushed cracker crumbs, they mean like saltine crackers. I've seen some people use this and use Ritz crackers, like I said before, or oyster crackers. Anything you got in your pantry and you need to use up for this, use that. No one's going to judge you for it. It's okay. You're going to use up ingredients that otherwise would have gotten tossed out. So you definitely want to use what you got on hand. You don't have to go out and start buying up a bunch of stuff you don't need if you already have something that can substitute real well in your pantry. In the South, we don't waste anything. We make sure we use every bit of it whenever we can and every time we can. You're also going to need half a cup of Romano cheese and a tablespoon of paprika. Yes, I said a whole tablespoon of paprika. Now, with paprika, you can use smoked paprika, which is one of my favorite things to use. I just love that deep, resonant, smoky flavor to it. It just tastes delicious. And a fun fact about paprika that I don't think anyone knows, paprika is just dried bell pepper. I know, the shock and absolute shock of knowing that. That's exactly what paprika is, honey. And when it's smoked paprika, it just brings a depth of flavor to your dish that just, it's magical. It absolutely is magical, and you would love it. So for a medium cream sauce, you need to melt the 6 tablespoons of butter in a saucepan, and then you're going to stir in the 6 tablespoons of flour and cook for a minute. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, she's making a roux. That's going to be a roux. You're close. This is going to be more like a bechamel sauce. It's going to be more like their white sauce, because that's where the milk and half and half comes in. So you go cook out the flour flavor and then cook the butter and everything down. Then you're going to add the milk, and that's what turns it into the bechamel white sauce. Fun fact. So it's still got the basis of a roux. It's just a different type of roux. Now, then you're going to saute that shrimp and crab meat in the rest of that butter. You're going to need it, because trust me, it needs to be flavored real well. You're going to add in the sherry, the shrimp, the cheese, and the hot cream sauce. You're going to season it with the salt and pepper to taste and heat thoroughly. Pour into a casserole dish or individual gratins, and then sprinkle the top with those cracker crumbs. See how I told you it didn't matter what kind of cracker crumbs you had, whatever you have on hand will work, it will work. And then you'll sprinkle in a little bit of that Romano cheese and paprika as well. You'll put a little bit of butter on top of that and bake it in a preheated oven of 350 degrees until golden brown. So this is going to make about 8 servings, or if you're real hungry, 4. It just depends all on you and how hungry your family is. But this is it's a real nice date night dish, honestly. This is something you can put together and it just comes out so beautifully, but it's so simply made. People will think you spent hours and hours and hours on it, and you didn't. You only spent about maybe half an hour on it, and then it bakes for about 10-15 minutes afterwards and completely done. And there you go. That's all you need. Isn't that crazy? All these beautiful dishes don't take more than half an hour to cook for something like that and to turn out beautifully. Now, for the French bread, that's going to take a little bit longer, but you can start your French bread first if you'd like to, because it is going to need to rise for a few hours before you actually bake it. So for the French bread, you're going to need half a cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast, 5 cups of flour. You'll make sure that's sifted too. You want it to be sifted. It won't be heavy packed. You got to have it sifted so it's very light. 1.5 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of butter. Now this is where you're going to preheat that oven to 375. You're going to scald the milk and let it stand until it gets lukewarm. Now scald in the milk, that's very, very important. You don't want to burn it, you just want to scald it. There's a huge difference. Scald is right before burn. And you will know, you just want to bubble, make sure it bubbles, and scalds, and it's got that heat and that steam coming off of it, and then you're done. Then you're going to add the yeast to there, and then mix the yeast is going to go in the milk. It's not going to go in the other stuff yet. So in a separate bowl, you're going to mix the flour, water, sugar, salt, butter, all together in a large bowl. Then you're going to add the yeast and milk mixture to that bowl. So you don't want to add the other stuff to the pot. You want to add the yeast and milk mixture to the bowl first, because it's much easier, I promise. So personally, for me, I would let that milk and yeast sit for a minute or two before pouring it in with the rest, because it's going to be very, very hot. And then you're going to make sure that you mix it all together. It's all well incorporated. You don't want to overknead it, and you can't overknead it because it's going to be very, very hot. So what you're going to do after that is you're going to cover it with a warm cloth. Try to do it with a warm, moist cloth if possible, because it's going to help it rise a little bit better and increase that humidity in there so it rises better and gets more of a fluff going. You need to put it in a warm, humid place for about 2 hours. Now, most of the time you can put it I would put it at the back of the stove, above the stove or something, because there's still heat coming off of there, and that was the best place for it. That's what I would do. So anywhere that's a warm place, you can put it on. If you have big windows and the sun's coming in, you can put it on the counter where that sunlight's coming in, and that's a perfect place for it too. Just don't put it outside, because one of your pets might run off with it. That did happen to me once. Okay, twice. That was my fault, putting stuff outside to think I was going to get it working better, rising better, or anything. And when I was a kid, and one of my grandparents' dogs thought it was dinner and took off with it, and I never saw it again. So I had to start all over. That was not funny at the time, but it's funny now. I was very upset because I was very proud of that bread, and that dog just took off with it. What are you going to do? Southern dogs, they're just a mess. Now, after it's been sitting for 2 hours and let rise, it's going to double in size. You're going to remove the dough to a table and knead it for 5 minutes. Now, this is a dough you will be working your arm muscles on. You're going to knead it for 5 minutes, continuously 5 minutes to knead this dough. Then once that's done, you're going to grease a baking sheet, and you're going to divide it and shape it into 3 loaves. That's all you're going to get out of this is 3 loaves, but they're pretty substantial, so don't worry. You're going to place it on a sheet pan, let it double in size a second time. So you're going to leave that there for probably a good 30 minutes, maybe 45. And it's going to double in size. I promise it's going to get bigger and they're going to be beautiful. And then you're going to bake at least for 25 minutes and it's going to make 3 loaves. Now, if you want to, if you want to make it a little bit prettier or something, you can slice little slices down the top of it to make it burst more. If it gives it more of that French bread loaf look or anything like that, you can do that if you want it. Most people, it don't matter. It's bread. It's going to get eaten. So it's going to be delicious regardless. So I hope you enjoy these recipes. As I said, all of the recipes will be posted at the end of the video and in the description. If you like these, please do like, share, follow, and subscribe. Definitely tell everybody you know about it. If I gave you some comfort, gave you some joy, listening to me reading recipes to you and telling stories about my family and Cajun culture, I am more appreciative of you every single day, hon. So y'all enjoy. I love you all. Enjoy life, enjoy food, enjoy yourselves.